We are back for another episode of Inmate Tea with
A
and P.
I'm April.
And I'm Patricia. Today we're going to talk about prison staff brutality and its impact. Just to shine light on a few recent events, according to the New York Times, an inmate at Marcy Correctional Facility in New York, Robert Brooks, age 43, died after a brutal attack in December 2024. The attack was captured by several officers' body cam. The body cam footage showed an unprovoked extreme attack by the hands of correctional officers while Mr. Brooks was handcuffed and shackled.
Also, in December 2024, an inmate by the name of Curtis Moore, age 38, was incarcerated at Albemarle Correctional Facility and was transported to the hospital for undisclosed reasons. The hospital released him after about 6 hours back to Albemarle Correctional. Then, less than 12 hours later, EMS returned to the prison on another call because Moore was again found in need of treatment. He was transported back to the hospital and pronounced dead a few days later.
Today we are interviewing an inmate by the name of JT, who was housed at the Albemarle Correctional Facility with the late Curtis Moore. JT wants to share his first-hand experience of prison staff brutality only 1 week after the death of Curtis Moore. So stay tuned because
we have the tea.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. This is Patricia
and April
at Inmate Tea.
Right.
Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, good. So really quick, we read through your letter and everything, and we've already explained to our viewers that we were not able to get this video out and get you recorded before you were released a few months ago. But if you could just walk us through briefly a little bit about your background.
All right. Well, my backstory, my life up until this point has been a hurricane, to say the least, with drugs and prison bids and drugs leading to prison bids and all of this, and so it's been really crazy up until now. But now I'm at a better place. But I've been in some very dark places, so. It feels good to say that I'm in a better place now. So,
okay,
that's good.
But yeah,
our production. I'm sorry. Okay, so that's good. So with the drugs, you mentioned, how old were you when you started abusing or using drugs?
I moved in with my father when I was 14 years old, and he had been getting high for some years, and I just was too young to realize what he was doing until I moved in with him, and then I was right in the thick of it then.
What's happening physically to the body? Or is there a series of detox? Are you sick when you went in, or is it just you could just stop cold turkey?
Well, you can just. Cocaine is you could just stop cold turkey. Like I said, it's not really a physical thing. Now heroin's different. Heroin, it does all the things to your body to where when you stop using it, your body stops producing whatever heroin's giving you, in droves, and then your body goes through withdrawal. I mean, I've been locked up with countless people going through detox in prison, in jail, and everything, and it is a sight to see somebody in the cell with you, and especially during lockdown hours when you can't get out of the cell and you have somebody that can't sleep and there's got restless leg syndrome. They can't get comfortable. They're shitting all over their cells and they're throwing up on their cells, and they just can't control their bodily functions because of the dope.
So you said you got sober for a while, or you stayed sober?
I'm still sober right now.
Got it.
That's something that I can be proud of. So, it feels good to be able to...
That's awesome.
Yes. I deserve that. I deserve that clap. It feels good to be able to say that after so many years of being, in the trenches of drugs. So it feels good not to be in their grasp anymore.
Something that we touched on before you called in was some headlines that are in current news about inmate beatings, and we wanted to talk to you because you spoke about in the letter that you wrote to us about being incarcerated at Albemarle Correctional, and in current news, there was an inmate that was beaten by correctional staff and died from that beating. Can you kind of expand on that inmate and if you knew him, if you know anything that happened with that event that took place at Albemarle Correctional?
Yeah, I was there. I was there when this happened. Curtis. I didn't. He didn't really hang around the same circles as me. I met him in passing a few times. I hung around more of he was my age, but he just wasn't in my group of people. But you know, so I was there when this meeting took place. I remember. I mean, it's like in there, it's nothing can be hidden. Somebody's gonna know something and tell somebody, and it's like that game you play, in school. It's just rumors, but it's not rumors. Like this shit really happens. And so I remember hearing and talking to people in the hole and outside of the hole, and you hear the officers talk about certain things. They don't really want to say it because they know they're going to get in trouble for it. But you see their faces when the conversation's brought up, or when an inmate asks them like what happened. You can tell that they don't want to disclose what really happened because they know there can be some repercussions behind it, which it should be some repercussions behind it because a man lost his life.
Yeah, definitely. Um, can you did you ever experience anything like this at Albemarle Correctional? Or actually, before you get into that, could you tell us about how the officers at Albemarle Correctional, how do they act towards you, to other inmates that you witnessed?
I've been to countless prisons in North Carolina. I would literally have to sit and think and write down all the prisons that I've been to. But Albemarle takes the cake on just the staff in general and how they treat the inmates. I mean, even how they treat each other. It's crazy to be and well to know that you're in the control of these people because they're just so blatant with their disrespect towards you and their hatred is just oozing out of them. Like they can't even hide their hatred for the inmates in there.
Mm, okay. What
Yeah,
about any kind of experiences you had? Did you have any experiences like similar to what Curtis Moore experienced?
I did have a incident that occurred. Now this was after Curtis Moore. I mean, Curtis was a bad. I mean, that was just a bad thing. It happened. It was sometime in October. I can't really remember the day. I mean, some how it happened was it was all around drugs with Curtis. He didn't even do drugs. He didn't even get high. But a prison guy, another inmate, a CI is what they call him, confidential informant, will told the officers that Curtis, he had drugs and he was selling drugs.
Is this
So they went
confidential
to Kurt.
informants? Are they other inmates?
They're other inmates, yeah. So they're the ones that the police they do the officer's job for them when they're not there. They'll go and they'll start conversations or try to buy drugs from people just so they can go back and tell them so they can get special privileges or so they can get the you know so the officers will turn their head when they do something wrong. All it's like a they're paying for it. You know what I mean? So they
Yeah.
don't mind telling on somebody because they know they're going to get something out of it. So one of these CIs, which yes is another inmate, went to the officers and told them that Curtis was selling drugs. So they went to Curtis, ran his locker and they searched his locker, tore his shit up, and they took him to the hole. Well, it was something he swallowed something. I mean, who knows what it was, or who knows that even happened. Maybe that's just something they're saying. But they took him to the hospital. Well, the hospital cleared him. I mean, he'd come back. He was alive and well when he come back. But when they brought him back, they took him to the hole. Now, in the hole, you have no contact with anybody but the staff. There's no other inmates around you. You're in a cell by yourself. So, why hours later is EMS called to a man that is in need of an ambulance in a cell by himself? I mean, he didn't hurt himself. This is not what happened. There's nothing you can do in your cell to hurt yourself. It's nothing to hang yourself from. It's nothing. You can jump off the bed, but it's not that far off the ground. It's not going to hurt you.
When you're in seg,
So
how many hours a day are you in seg? Do you ever get to come out? Do you get to go outside at all?
that's no, you don't get to go outside at all. You don't get to go outside. You have a window above your bed that you literally have to stand on your bed to look out of. But they have a parking lot behind segregation, so they don't want you to see the cars that the officers are driving. So what they've done is they fogged up the windows, so it's you still get sunlight in them, but you can't see out of them. It's not like a tent or anything where the sun don't come in, you can see out. It's literally like frosted glass. They've taped to the for the windows so you can't see out of them.
Okay.
Okay, and really quick, JT, I just want to go back. And then you may not know, I just need to ask, is the hospital there held at the same or under the same guidelines? Like, I'm assuming they wouldn't have been able to release this inmate back to the prison care unless he was medically cleared, correct?
Exactly. I mean, if something, the staff hospital, well, it's not even really a hospital. It's a medical. It's a nurses. I guess they're trained, but there's no doctors that are work there full time to to help someone out. And if the hospital, this goes by a hospital is a hospital. If you're unable to leave or if you're hurt in some way, the hospital's not going to let you just get up and walk away.
Okay, I just wanted
They're
to
not
make
going
sure
to.
that was
They're not going to.
clear, that
Yeah.
he was cleared before he
Yeah.
was released back to segregation. Okay.
Yeah, so they brought him back, but so after he left and went to the hospital, they brought him back, and but they didn't put him on the yard, which is general population, which is around everybody else. They took him to segregations, which is he's by himself, and so then hours later, an ambulance was called because he is in need of an ambulance. But why would you need an ambulance? And you're there by yourself. You can't. You're not going to beat yourself to death. It's something you don't do. I mean, I guess some people do have issues and things like that, but they're held at different prisons. They're held in mental institutions and things like this. This was not Curtis. I met the man. I know him. I know what kind of person he is, and you could feel somebody's vibe if he's this kind of person, and this was not that kind of person.
And he's confined to a cell in segregation for 24 hours a day, right? So
24 hours a day.
he would have no contact with anybody else other than correctional staff.
No contact with anybody else but correctional staff.
No, no use of phones or anything.
No use of phones, no use of anything. You get tablets back there, but once you are admitted into segregation, your tablet is essentially cut off. You don't have that outside connection with your tablet. Now there's books and things on it to read, but they give you your tablet at 10 o'clock in the day, and if you're reading your book on it or you're trying to do a Sudoku puzzle, which is all that shit is to do on it, your battery's going to die. There's no recharge. There's nothing to watch. So I guess they do try to give you something to occupy yourself. But this tablet is a new thing. Like this is only a couple years old. I mean, just imagine years ago when there was no tablet and you were in the hole. So it's kind of a new thing, these tablets. But you still get no contact with outside people. Like physically, the only people that can come into your cell or be around you and touch you is the staff. And when they do that, you have to put your hands out of the door and get handcuffed before even that happens. So you're not around them when you're back there in the hole. You don't get to just walk around with your hands free. You're in segregation for a reason, they want to say, and most of the times, every time you come out of that cell, you are handcuffed.
Oh, okay. When you come out of the cell, you're handcuffed. Not in the cell, you're handcuffed.
Not in the cell, but
Okay.
once you come out to go to medical or go to the shower or go to recreation, anything, you are handcuffed when you come out, and then they will take the handcuffs off of you when you go back in. So a couple of weeks after this, I was placed in the hole because they have this new thing in prison now. It's a new charge. They go over these charges every now and then, and they like to make new ones because things change, and they want to come up with any way they can to get you in trouble. I'm not going to say that is the reason, but a lot of the times in our eyes, the inmates' eyes, a lot of these rules are put in place just to put their foot on your neck a little bit more than they have already. We've already lost our freedom, and they want to take just as much more from us as as much as they can from us while we're in there. But they have this charge, and it's a charge, and it's the appearance of being high. You can literally get something in your eyes, and your eyes turn red, or you can stumble on the sidewalk, and a police officer, a CO, can see you and say that you're high, or say that you've been drinking, or say whatever they want to say, and write you up for that, just because they think you are high. They think you are drinking. So it's and they want to take $10 from you. I mean, just to say the least, they want to take money from you after that happens.
Wait, did you just say they want to take $10 from you?
They take $10 from you for every write up. So it hits your pockets too. Not only do you go to the hole and lose your privileges, you lose money. And sometimes you lose money that you don't even have. So it's a wild system how they got it.
So I'm just trying to understand. What happens if you don't have any money?
Well, if you don't have any money, they will just put a hold on your account. So if you ever do get any money, they'll take it from you little by little. They never take all of it. So if you have $100, they'll take 98 of it and leave you two. So no matter how much you go over, they'll take and take and take until that $10 is paid off.
Okay.
So when you get one of these A charges for appearing high, do you have to get a drug test to determine that if you really are high or not for the charge to stick?
Well, if I mean, I guess you would think so. You would think that a drug test would prove your
Definitely,
innocence,
you
right?
would think.
You would think that, yeah, you would think a drug test would prove that you're not high. But in my case, and within 100 other people's cases, a drug test is administered. You pass it, it doesn't matter. You're still appearing to be high, and the charge will stick, and you will get in trouble, no matter what they think or what they say, or what the proof is saying in the drug test. It doesn't matter.
So it doesn't matter. They could just not like you and pin this charge on you. And no matter if your test is clean, they have no proof, they found no drugs, you still are charged with it.
You're
And
still charged with it. You still lose your money. You still lose your privileges. And if you fight the charge and plead not guilty, which a lot of people do that, and try to fight it, because if you plead guilty to it, you'll get less punishment. Now the $10 is taken regardless of what happens. The $10 is going to be gone. But if you a charge carries 60 days, oh well, now they've changed it, so it carries 30 days in the hole, a loss of privileges for like 90 days, I think, where you can't get any canteen. They can take your phone privileges, your tablet period. They can even take your radio from you.
Hmm.
okay. Okay, so let's get into it. So back to you saying that you had a similar incident happen to you. Walk us through that. What took place?
Okay, I was taken back to the hole for appearing to be high. They said I was stumbling going up the steps in my block,
Did they
so they took
take
me to
ten
the hole.
dollars?
They took $10.
Did
Yes,
you
they
have
did.
$10?
At the time, I did have $10, but I was still not willing to give it up. But it's not my choice.
Right. Okay.
So they took $10. I'm in the hole. I was back in the hole, and this is after Curtis now, so it's a whole different feeling back here in segregation at this time because
How
of what happened
long
to
would
him.
you say after Curtis?
Uh, Maybe close to 2 weeks, if that. Maybe I don't remember the exact dates. I have to really, you know, I wish, I wish I could remember exactly when,
I'm
but
so
it
sorry.
wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. It was a couple of weeks after, so it's still fresh. It's
Yeah,
still fresh
Right.
in everybody's mind what happened to this guy.
Right.
yeah.
And everybody in the hole, pretty much is at risk knowing that this happened. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm back in the hole, and a guy next to me, was doing whatever. I mean, I smelled smoke. Everybody smelled smoke. If somebody's smoking back there, we share vents with each other. You're going to smell it. Well, the cops was making around. They stopped by his door. They smelled the smoke. They went in his cell, searched his cell, such and such. Well, they moved to my cell. When they moved to my cell, they said, "Oh, look, he's in here smoking too." So they come in my cell, handcuffed me behind my back before they even opened my door. They told me to submit to the cuffs, which I have no choice but to submit to the cuffs, because if they open your trap up and tell you to submit to the cuffs and you don't, what they'll do is they'll just take their mace can out and just spray a whole bunch of it in your room and then close the trap back up. So
So
then
how
you're
do
just
you
stuck in
submit
there
to the
like
cuffs? Do you have to like back up to
you.
the door with your
Yeah, you
hands?
turn around. You turn around with your hands behind your back and you stick your hands out the door.
This,
They
I
attach
just want to
cuffs
make
and
sure that
then
I'm clear on this. You said this is in the hole.
this is in the hole. Yes,
How
this
is
is in the
someone
room by
smoking in the
yourself.
hole?
Well, I mean, you can bring it back there with you. I mean, you can bring it back there with you, on the yard. There's drugs everywhere on the yard, so I mean, people come back there with it and things like that.
Okay.
So I guess this guy just had something with him when he came, so he was smoking it.
Okay.
Well, so they told me to submit to the cuffs. I submitted to the cuffs. They pulled me out of my cell and they take me to a ret cage. Well, we're in the ret cage and they're searching my pockets. Well, I just laid my head on the wall because I mean I'm facing the wall with two officers around me. I laid my head on the wall and the officer looks at me and goes, "Why are you hitting your head on the wall?" I said, "I'm not hitting my head on the wall. I'm just laying. I'm just leaning here because y'all are acting crazy. I mean I wasn't smoking." So he said, "Well, just get on the ground then." So he kicks me in the legs and takes my legs out from under me. So I'm on my knees then, but I'm not struggling with him because I mean it's you're it's like you're in a vice. You don't know what's going to happen next. So eh, knowing what happened 2 weeks prior to this, I guess the tensions are high with everybody,
Right.
myself included.
Yeah.
Knowing that I could be the next Curtis Moore,
Right.
for not even trying to, not even being violent, not even being aggressive or struggling with the cuffs. So they kicked me on the ground, and then another officer grabs me and then throws me on the ground and puts his knee on my back and holds my head to the floor while the other officer kicks me in the side. And they just hold me there and kick me, and they take my cuffs and they wrench the cuffs down just as tight as they can be, on my wrist. My wrist was hurt, for at least a month after that. Even when I was released, I still have some pain in my wrist because I don't know what they done to it is, but it's a very painful situation to be in because you don't know what to do. It's you in there with no cameras in a cell, you know, getting beat by these guys that they don't have to stop. There's no cameras in there. You're
Mm.
literally fighting for your life. But if you fight back for your life, that gives them even more reason to be violent, be rough with you, to stop you
How many?
from
How
fighting
many?
back.
How many are there at this point? When you said the one kicks your feet from under you and the other one's on your back, like how many are there?
It was the two I know of. It had to be at least two more, but like I said, my face was on the ground and I couldn't really tell, and I was facing the wall away from the door, so I don't know how many come in. I heard multiple voices, but more than the two, so I would say at least four, maybe five officers in here, and it was even a white shirt. I mean, it was a white shirt, which is a lieutenant or a captain in a prison, which is a officer in charge pretty much. You got sergeants, you got lieutenants, and you got captains. So the lieutenants and captains wear white shirts. So these are the guys that these are the bosses. It was a white shirt in the cell. Like he is watching this happen. I can hear him talking.
Oh my
Are
And
God.
so you
are you giving any pushback at this point? Are you struggling? Are you fighting them back, or like I know you're restrained, but are you just like are you submitting? Like I'm not like what is happening? Walk us through. Like are you
Yeah, I'm yelling this. I'm yelling like, please stop. I'm not
okay?
I'm not fighting. I'm not struggling. I mean, what are you doing? I mean, you're killing me. I mean, maybe I was being a little exaggerated, but in that moment, you just don't know. You don't know
Right.
what their intentions are. You don't know what they're feeling or how angry they are or what they want to do to you. So,
Right.
they could be killing me. You know what I mean? Like, I
Especially
just
with
it's
what happened prior
Right.
with Curtis Moore.
exactly and exactly. So you just don't know how far that they're willing to take this, and I'm not struggling. I mean, I'm sitting there, and they've got these cuffs on my hands, kicking me in the sides, and it's just traumatic what they put you through. I mean, not even only physically, but mentally, what my mind is going through at this time, and even after this, even after it's all done, I'm back in my cell. I mean, you're sitting there and you think like, man, that could have been it right there. That could have been my
Right.
life.
You've ever had a beating like this from correctional staff at any other facility?
I've never been treated uh, as a person, not I mean, let alone an inmate at any prison like I was treated at Albemarle.
Are there any repercussions for this? Did anything happen from this? Are you able to, and this is going to sound crazy, but I don't know. So, are you able to file a report? Are you able to, like, report this to somebody? I guess not because the people in charge are doing it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, who are you going to tell? Who are you going to tell that this happened? Like, who would you write and tell that I mean, grievances could be passed out when you ask for a grievance, which is a form you fill out when you've been wronged or You want to grieve something that a prison system is doing or a prison officer is doing. It's a grievance, but you have to ask for these grievances at this place. They're not just readily available. You have to ask an officer for a grievance, and a lot of times you'll get kickback. They'll push back. Why do you want it? Why do you want it? But they have no right to ask you that. They have the right to know what you want to grieve. This could be a private matter you want to grieve. It cannot even be about anything dealing with them. It could be a medical issue. It could be, an outside issue. Anything you want to grieve, but you have to ask them to bring it to you. And a lot of them will get angry when you ask them for a grievance, thinking that you want to grieve something about them. So that'll be something else that they use, like, oh, he wants to write grievances on us, so let's do. It's just the mentality that they have. They don't want. I've seen grievances get ripped up. I've seen grievances get passed in and ripped up right in front of them. Like, oh, we're not sending this out because it's pink. It's a pink back. So if you put it in the envelope, you can kind of tell. Even if you fold it, people try to send them to Raleigh and try to kind of cut the system, kind of cut it off where they send them straight to Raleigh. But they're supposed to go to a lieutenant. So if I was to grieve what happened to me, that's just gonna, add fuel to the fire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, JT, this has been quite the conversation.
It definitely has.
I am so happy that you were able to meet with us. We were finally able to do this interview. It has been so informative, to say the least. And I'm
definitely spilled the tea.
You definitely, yeah. And JT, I'm so sorry that all of that happened to you. I am happy that you're able to talk about it and get it out and use this as a form of therapy, if you will. But
absolutely.
But again, I'm happy that you're out. Hopefully that you'll stay on this path with staying sober, staying clean, staying away from all that stuff, so you can just not ever have to deal with that ever again.
That's right.
That is definitely my hope. I'm living in a sober living house. I take 2 drug tests a week, but I'm proud to say I haven't failed, and I'm not worried about failing. I go to meetings, I network, I meet like-minded people, and then I don't want to go back down that road. Not only because I don't want to do drugs, but I don't want to go back to prison. I don't want to go back to that lifestyle or to be under somebody else's thumb, because the prison system is even worse. It's not getting any better. It doesn't make you a better person going in there. It makes you an insane person. It institutionalizes you to the point where you don't know how to act in the free world when you're locked up 30, 40, 50 years of your life. And so I don't want to go back in there and even have to struggle with the issues that I was struggling with this time.
Yeah.
Right. Well, good luck with everything, JT. Thank you so much for doing this interview with us, and it was so nice speaking with you this evening.
It was. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes. Thank y'all for what y'all are doing. I appreciate it.
These guys committed their crime. They are serving their time, but cruel and unusual treatment or death at the hand of prison staff is not their sentence.
Until next week, we'll have the tea.